A black teen walks into a bank with a $6,000 scholarship check, only to be treated like a criminal. Ava Mitchell, 15, faces sneers and suspicion from a racist manager who demands, "Where'd a kid like you get this money?" Humiliated and cornered, Ava's sharp eyes catch a secret deal. Documents handed to a rival CEO, hinting at betrayal. Armed with a hidden USB and her notebook, she's no ordinary girl. She's the daughter of a financial titan, and her fight will expose a corrupt empire. Will Ava turn the tables? Stay tuned for a storm of justice. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of courage against injustice. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from, and what time is it? Join Ava's fight and don't miss the next chapter. The crisp Monday morning sun glinted off the polished glass doors of Oak Bank, nestled in the heart of Oak Ridge's affluent district. Ava Mitchell, 15, stepped out of her mother's silver SUV, her Western Academy uniform, a navy blazer, pleated skirt, and loafers, crisp and proud. Her braided hair was neatly pinned, and a silver bracelet engraved with hope, a gift from her late grandmother, gleamed on her wrist. Clutching a leather folder with her $6,000 scholarship check, earned for a groundbreaking environmental science project, Ava felt a surge of independence. This was her first solo bank deposit, a milestone her mother, Dr. Elise Mitchell, a renowned financial CEO, had entrusted her to handle. "You've got this, Ava," Elise had said at breakfast, her eyes warm with pride. Now, Ava's heart raced with excitement and nerves as she pushed open the heavy doors. Inside, the bank's marble floors and mahogany counters exuded wealth, but the air felt cold, unwelcoming. Ava approached the teller counter, where Lucas Reed, a 22-year-old with a nervous smile, stood. Behind him, Margaret Langley, 48, the bank manager, watched with a sharp gaze, her tailored suit and pearl earrings screaming authority. Ava slid her check across the counter, voice steady. "I'd like to deposit this, please." Lucas glanced at the check, his brow furrowing. $6,000, he said, loud enough for nearby customers to turn. "That's a lot for a student." Ava's cheeks warmed, but she held her ground. "It's my scholarship from Western Academy. I have the award letter and ID here." She opened her folder, revealing neatly organized documents, and, tucked inside, a cryptic sticky note she hadn't noticed before, scrawled in red ink. "Langley, Crane, 8:30 a.m., confidential." Her pulse quickened. Crane? Edward Crane, the rival CEO her mother had mentioned. She slipped the note back, heart pounding, as Lucas took her papers, inspecting them like evidence. Margaret strode over, her heels clicking ominously. "What's the hold-up, Lucas?" she asked, her voice smooth but edged with disdain. Her eyes locked on Ava, narrowing. "A check this size from a kid like you," she said, loud enough for the lobby to hear. "Where do you get it?" Ava's fingers tightened on her bracelet, voice firm. "It's a scholarship for my science project. Everything's in order, check it." Margaret snatched the documents, barely glancing at them. "We've had fraud issues lately," she said, her tone dripping with skepticism. "You'll need to wait while we verify." Ava's stomach knotted, sensing the lie. "Verify what?" she asked, voice rising. "I showed you my ID and letter." Margaret's smile was cold. "Don't raise your voice, young lady. We have standards here." Lucas shifted, voice low. "Ms. Langley, maybe we could." Margaret cut him off with a glare. "Do your job, Lucas. Call the scholarship office." Ava's heart sank. She'd planned to be quick, back home before her mother's meeting ended. "I need to call my mom," she said, reaching for her bag, then freezing. "My phone's at school. Can I use yours?" Margaret's lips curled. "That's not our problem. Wait over there." She pointed to a corner near the security guard, isolating Ava like a suspect. Ava stood, clutching her folder, the sticky note's words, Langley, Crane, confidential, burning in her mind. Around her, the bank hummed with activity, but eyes followed her. A white couple in designer clothes breezed in, greeted warmly by Margaret. "Mr. and Mrs. Ellison, right this way," she chirped, escorting them to a private office. A Latino man with paperwork was waved off with a curt, "System slow, come back later." Ava's chest tightened. This wasn't just bad service. It was bias, raw and deliberate. "Keep an eye on her," Margaret instructed the security guard, a hulking man named Greg, her voice low but audible. "Make sure she doesn't wander." Greg nodded, his gaze heavy. Ava's hands clenched, nails digging into her palms. "I'm not going anywhere," she said, voice steady despite the sting. "I just want to deposit my check." Margaret ignored her, turning to Lucas. "Hurry up with that verification. We don't need trouble." Ava's eyes darted to her folder, the sticky note a secret she couldn't ignore. She opened it, pretending to check her papers, and read it again. Langley, Crane, 8:30 a.m. It was 8:25 now. Was Crane coming here? Her mother had warned about his ruthless tactics to undermine her company. Ava's mind raced. Could Margaret be involved? She glanced at Sophie Grant, a 25-year-old teller at another counter, who met her eyes briefly, offering a subtle nod. Sophie's kindness stood out, a flicker of hope in the hostile room. "Why is it taking so long?" Ava asked Sophie, voice low. Sophie leaned in, whispering, "Margaret's like this sometimes. Stay strong, I'll try to help." Ava nodded, grateful, but her gaze caught Margaret watching them, her expression darkening. "Lucas, move her to the back," Margaret snapped, pointing at Ava. Greg stepped forward, hand on her arm. "Let's go, kid." Ava pulled back, voice rising. "I'm not a criminal. I earned that money." Margaret's voice was ice. "You're disrupting our customers. Move, or we'll call the police." The threat hit like a slap, but Ava stood tall, bracelet glinting. "You'll regret this," she said, echoing her grandmother's fire. Greg hesitated, but Margaret's glare pushed him to lead Ava to a corner, visible yet ostracized. As she stood, the bank's clock struck 8:30, and the door swung open. A tall man in a sharp suit, Edward Crane, entered, Margaret rushing to greet him with a manila folder marked confidential. Ava's heart pounded, the sticky note's truth dawning. She'd stumbled into something far bigger than a bank deposit. The polished marble floors of Oak Bank gleamed under the morning light, but for Ava Mitchell, they felt like ice beneath her loafers. At 15, she stood in the corner where security guard Greg had parked her, clutching her leather folder, the cryptic sticky note, Langley, Crane, 8:30 a.m., confidential, burning in her mind. Her $6,000 scholarship check, earned for her environmental science project, was still held hostage by manager Margaret Langley and teller Lucas Reed, their suspicion rooted in her race and age. The silver bracelet engraved with hope on her wrist, a gift from her grandmother, anchored her as humiliation nod. Ava's sharp eyes scanned the bank, catching every slight, every whisper. She'd seen Margaret hand a manila folder marked confidential to Edward Crane, CEO of a rival bank, minutes ago. This wasn't just bias, it was betrayal, and Ava was determined to prove it. Margaret's heels clicked as she returned to the counter, her pearl earrings glinting with smug authority. "Lucas, any word from the scholarship office?" she asked, voice loud enough to draw eyes. Lucas, 22, glanced at Ava, his face uneasy. "Not yet, Ms. Langley. They're slow." Ava's jaw tightened. "It's been 30 minutes, she said, voice steady but sharp. "My documents are real. Why am I still here?" Margaret's smile was razor thin. "Patience, young lady. We don't rush for just anyone." Ava's fingers brushed the sticky note in her folder, her pulse racing. She'd overheard Margaret's hushed words to Crane. "It's all here, everything they need." The folder, the note, Crane's quick exit. It pointed to sabotage against her mother, Dr. Elise Mitchell, whose financial firm was Ogde's biggest client. Ava opened her notebook, jotting details. 8:32 a.m., Margaret gave Crane folder. Confidential, smiling. Her mother had taught her to document everything, and now it felt like armor. Sophie Grant, the 25-year-old teller, caught Ava's eye from her station, her expression soft. "Hang in there," Sophie mouthed, slipping a pen to a customer but watching Margaret warily. Ava nodded, grateful for the ally. "Sophie, can you check on my check?" she whispered when Margaret turned away. Sophie leaned in, voice low. Margaret stalling on purpose. I saw her with Crane. She's up to something. I'll help you, but stay quiet. Ava's heart leapt. Thank you, she said, voice fierce. I know what I saw. Margaret's voice cut through, sharp. Sophie, focus on your work, not chatting with her. She pointed at Ava, eyes cold. You, stay put. Greg, make sure she doesn't move. Greg, looming nearby, grunted, his hand hovering near his radio. I'm not a thief, Ava said, voice rising, drawing stares. I earned that money, Margaret smirked, addressing the lobby. Some people think they can walk in here and demand special treatment. Customers whispered, some nodding, others averting their eyes. Ava's cheeks burned, but she held her head high, bracelet glinting. Her gaze darted to the counter, where Lucas shuffled papers, avoiding her. Lucas, you saw my ID, Ava called, voice firm. Tell her it's legit. Lucas hesitated, voice low. I'm just following orders, kid. Margaret snapped, enough. You're disrupting business. Ava's fists clenched, the sticky notes words fueling her. She scribbled more. Margaret lied about verification. Targeting me. The bank's clock ticked past 9 a.m., her mother expecting her home soon. Ava's phone, left at school, left her stranded, but Sophie's support and the note gave her purpose. A new customer, a black woman in a nurse's uniform, approached Sophie's counter, only to be waved off by Margaret. Systems down, try tomorrow, Margaret said, her tone dismissive. Moments later, a white man in a suit was ushered to Lucas's station with a warm, right this way, sir. Ava's stomach churned. This was no mistake, it was a pattern. You treat him differently, Ava said, voice loud enough to turn heads. Why? Margaret spun, eyes flashing. Mind your place, girl. You're lucky we're even helping you. Sophie, risking Margaret's wrath, slipped Ava a note under a stack of forms. I texted your mom. She's coming. Ava's breath caught, relief mixing with dread. Thank you, she whispered, tucking the note away. She added to her notebook. Sophie's helping. Mom on the way, but her eyes caught Margaret slipping into a back office. A phone pressed to her ear, voice low. Crane's got it. We're clear. Ava's heart pounded. Clear for what? The USB she'd found in Margaret's bag, dropped during her inspection, was still in her folder. She hadn't dared check it yet, but its weight felt like a ticking bomb. Why's she still here? Margaret muttered to Greg, loud enough for Ava to hear. We need her gun before. She stopped, noticing Ava's stare. Keep writing in that lil book, kid, Margaret sneered. It won't help you. Ava met her gaze, voice steady. It's helping more than you think. Margaret's smirk faltered, a flicker of unease crossing her face. Greg shifted, voice gruff. Quiet or I'll take that notebook. Ava clutched it tighter, bracelet catching the light. Try it, she said, defiance flaring. You'll regret it. The bank's doors swung open, and a new figure entered, a tall woman in a tailored coat, her presence commanding. Ava's heart skipped, her mother, Elise Mitchell. Margaret froze, her composure cracking. Dr. Mitchell, she stammered, forcing a smile. What a surprise. Elise's eyes locked on Ava, standing isolated and darkened with fury. Ava, are you okay? She asked, voice calm but lethal. Ava nodded, gripping her notebook. I'm fine, Mom, but you need to hear this. She opened her folder, revealing the sticky note and USB. Margaret's working with Crane. I saw it. Elise's gaze turned to Margaret, voice like ice. Ms. Langley, you've got some explaining to do. Margaret's hands trembled, voice shrill. This is a misunderstanding. She's just a kid. Elise stepped closer, voice low. A kid who's smarter than you. Hand over her check, now. The lobby fell silent, customers watching, Sophie nodding at Ava with quiet pride. Ava's notes, the USB, and her mother's arrival shifted the tide, but Margaret's nervous glance at the back office hinted at deeper secrets. Ava stood tall, ready to unveil the truth, her bracelet a beacon of hope in a fight just beginning. The air in Oak Bank crackled with tension, the polished marble floors reflecting the weight of Ava Mitchell's defiance. At 15, Ava stood in the corner where security guard Greg had confined her, her Wester Academy uniform wrinkled but her resolve unbroken. The $6,000 scholarship check, earned for her environmental science project, remained hostage to manager Margaret Langley's bias. Ava's silver bracelet, engraved with hope, glinted as she clutched her notebook, filled with meticulous notes. Margaret's meeting with Edward Crane, the sticky note, Langley, Crane, 8:30 a.m., confidential, and the USB she'd found in Margaret's bag. Her mother, Dr. Elise Mitchell, CEO of a powerful financial firm, stood before Margaret, eyes blazing after Ava's revelation. The bank's lobby, once bustling, now held its breath, customers and staff sensing a storm brewing. Elise's voice cut through, sharp and unyielding. "Ms. Langley, return my daughter's check and explain why you're colluding with Edward Crane." Margaret's face paled, her pearl earrings trembling. "Colluding? That's absurd," she snapped, voice shrill. "She's a kid making things up." Ava stepped forward, notebook open, voice steady. "I'm not making it up. I saw you give Crane a folder marked confidential. It's in my notes, 8:32 a.m., you said. It's all here." "What was it?" The gallery gasped, a customer whispering, "She's got proof." Margaret's eyes darted to Greg, voice tight. "She's lying. Greg, take that notebook." Greg hesitated, glancing at Elise's commanding presence. "I'm not touching it," he muttered, stepping back. Ava held her ground, bracelet catching the light. "You can't scare me, Ms. Langley. I know what I saw." Elise's gaze softened on Ava, then hardened on Margaret. "My daughter's smarter than your lies. Hand over the check, or I'll call the board." Lucas Reed, the 22-year-old teller, fidgeted behind the counter, voice low. "Ms. Langley, the scholarship office confirmed the check's legit." "Maybe we should." Margaret whirled on him, hissing, "Stay out of this, Lucas." But Sophie Grant, the 25-year-old teller, spoke up, voice bold. "He's right. I checked, too. It's real." "Why are you stalling, Margaret?" The lobby murmured, customers nodding. Sophie's defiance, sparked by her own past with Margaret's prejudice, shifted the room's energy. Ava's heart raced, the USB in her folder feeling heavier. She hadn't checked it yet, but its presence screamed danger. "Mom, there's more," she said, voice urgent. "I found this USB in Margaret's bag when she inspected me. It might have what she gave Crane." Elise's eyes widened, voice low. "Ava, you kept it. Good girl. We'll check it soon, but stay sharp." Margaret's composure cracked, voice rising. "That's theft. You can't take my property." Ava shot back, "You took my check first." "Fair's fair." Sophie slipped closer, whispering to Ava, "I heard Margaret on the phone yesterday, telling someone to secure the files before Elise's audit." "She's scared of your mom." Ava's pulse quickened, scribbling. "Margaret fears mom's audit." USB key. She looked at Elise, voice firm. "Mom, she's hiding something big. Crane's her way out." Elise nodded, voice like steel. "I know Crane's game. He wants my firm's biggest contract. Margaret's his pawn." Margaret's hands shook, voice desperate. "This is slander. I'm protecting this bank." But her eyes betrayed panic, flicking to the back office. Ava caught it, whispering to Elise, "She's nervous about that office." "Something's there." Elise's lips curved, voice low. "Keep watching, Ava. You're my eyes." She turned to Margaret, voice commanding. "Ms. Langley, open your office. Now, or I'll have security do it." Greg shifted, voice gruff. "I don't take orders from you, Dr. Mitchell." Elise's gaze pinned him. "You will when I call the police for unlawful detention of my daughter." "Move." Greg backed down, muttering, "Fine." Margaret's voice rose, frantic. "You can't go in there. It's private." Elise ignored her, striding toward the office. Ava at her side, notebook in hand. Customers watched, some filming on phones, the lobby buzzing with whispers. Inside the office, Ava's eyes scanned the desk. A locked drawer, a shredder overflowing with paper. "She's destroying evidence," Ava said, pointing. Elise nodded, voice urgent. "Greg, unlock this drawer, or you're complicit." Greg hesitated, then complied, revealing a stack of documents labeled Meridian Deal. Ava's breath caught. Meridian was Crane's bank. "It's about your contract, Mom," she said, voice shaking. Elise's eyes narrowed, flipping through papers. This is sabotage. Margaret's feeding Crane our client list. Margaret burst in, voice hysterical. You're twisting everything. I was just, Elise cut her off, voice like thunder. Just betraying my company? Save it, Margaret. These documents, Ava's notes, and that USB will bury you. Ava added, voice fierce, and I saw you treat others like me, ignoring them, dismissing them. It's not just me you hurt. Sophie, lingering at the door, spoke up, voice steady. She's right. I've seen Margaret push out anyone who doesn't fit her standards. I'm done staying quiet. Lucas, hovering nearby, finally spoke, voice shaky. I knew she was stalling, but I didn't stop her. I'm sorry, Ava. Ava met his eyes, voice firm. Then help us now. Tell the truth. Lucas nodded, voice low. She told me to delay your check, said you didn't belong here. The admission hung heavy, Margaret's face crumpling. You're all against me, she cried, but the room's tide had turned. Elise's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Langley's expose. Check USB. You're welcome. Ava's eyes widened, whispering, Sophie? Sophie shook her head, voice low. Not me. Someone else is watching. Elise pocketed the phone, voice resolute. We'll find out who. Ava, you're holding the key to this. Ava gripped the USB, her notes, and her bracelet, the weight of hope steadying her. Margaret's empire was cracking, but the USB's secrets and the mysterious ally hinted at a bigger fight. As Elise prepared to confront the bank's board, Ava stood ready, no longer a victim but a warrior uncovering a truth that could change everything. The Oak Bank's opulent lobby pulsed with a charged silence, every eye fixed on the unfolding drama. Ava Mitchell, 15, stood beside her mother, Dr. Elise Mitchell, in Margaret Langley's office, her Wester Academy uniform a quiet badge of resilience. The $6,000 scholarship check, still withheld, was now a footnote to a larger battle. Ava's notebook, filled with damning observations, Margaret's meeting with Edward Crane, the sticky note, Langley, Crane, 8:30 a.m., confidential, and the USB from Margaret's bag, clutched tightly in her hand. The bracelet engraved with hope gleamed as she faced Margaret, whose polished facade crumbled. Elise, 42, held documents from Margaret's desk, exposing a plot to sabotage her firm. A mysterious text, Langley's exposed. Check USB, hinted at an unseen ally, and now, with Sophie Grant's support and Lucas Reed's confession, the tide had turned. Elise's voice boomed, unwavering. Margaret, you've betrayed this bank and my company. These documents prove you leaked our client list to Crane. Margaret, 48, her pearl earrings trembling, stammered, You're twisting it. I was protecting Oaked. Ava stepped forward, notebook open, voice sharp. Protecting it by giving secrets to Meridian? I saw you hand Crane that folder. It's all here, 8:32 a.m. It's all here. The lobby gasped, customers filming, a reporter in the crowd scribbling furiously. Margaret's eyes darted to the USB in Ava's hand, voice shrill. That's mine. You stole it. Ava's gaze was steel. You stole my check first, and my dignity. I'm just taking back what's right. Elise held up the USB, voice like thunder. This stays with me. We're checking it now. She turned to Sophie, 25, who stood resolute. Sophie, get the board on the line. We're holding an emergency meeting. Here, now. Sophie nodded, voice firm. Yes, Dr. Mitchell, I've got the tech ready. Lucas Reed, 22, hovered, guilt etched on his face. Dr. Mitchell, I delayed Ava's check on Margaret's orders. I didn't know about Crane, I swear. Elise's eyes narrowed, voice cold. You'll testify to that, Lucas, or face consequences. Lucas nodded, voice low. I will. I'm sorry, Ava. Ava met his eyes, voice steady. Prove it by helping us now. Greg, the security guard, shifted uneasily, muttering, This is above my pay grade. Elise pinned him with a look. Then stay out of the way, Greg, or you're next. Margaret lunged for the USB, voice desperate. You can't do this. I'm the manager. Ava pulled back, voice fierce. Not anymore. You've hurt people. Me, Sophie, others. It's over. Sophie spoke up, voice bold. She's right. I've seen Margaret dismiss Black and Latino customers for years, calling it policy. I'm done covering for her. The crowd murmured, a black woman in a nurse's uniform nodding. I've been through it, too. The reporter called out, is this on record? Ava turned, voice clear. Every word. Check my notes. Elise plugged the USB into a laptop Sophie brought, the screen projecting onto a wall. Files loaded, emails between Margaret and Crane, detailing plans to leak Elise's client data for a $500,000 payoff. One email read, Mitchell's audit's close. Bury her before she finds out. The lobby erupted, customers shouting, fire her. Margaret's face drained of color, voice a plea. It's not what it looks like. I was pressured. Elise's voice was ice. Pressured to betray your employer. You're fired, Margaret. Security, escort her out. Greg hesitated, but Sophie's glare pushed him to act, guiding a protesting Margaret toward the exit. This isn't over, Elise. Margaret shrieked, her heels dragging. Elise ignored her, addressing the crowd, voice commanding. Oak Bank will undergo a full investigation. No one, customer or employee, will face discrimination here again. The crowd cheered, but Ava's eyes caught a new detail, a crumpled note in Margaret's shredded papers, scrawled with Crane's backup, Marsh, City Hall. Her heart raced, Counselor Evelyn Marsh, a name her mother had mentioned as Crane's ally. Mom, look, Ava whispered, handing over the note. Elise's eyes darkened, voice low. Marsh, she's untouchable, but not for long. Good catch, Ava. She turned to Sophie, voice urgent. Get these files to the FBI. We're not just stopping Margaret, Crane and Marsh are next. Sophie nodded, voice fierce. I'm on it. Ava, you're incredible. Ava's chest swelled, but the mysterious text echoed, you're welcome. Who was their ally? The board arrived, streaming into the lobby, their faces grim. Chairwoman Linda Voss, 60, approached Elise, voice tense. Dr. Mitchell, this is unprecedented. What's your demand? Elise held up the USB, voice resolute. Margaret's termination, Crane's arrest, and a public audit of Oakday's practices. My daughter exposed this. Let her speak. Ava stepped forward, voice steady despite trembling hands. I came to deposit my scholarship, but Margaret treated me like a criminal because I'm black and young. She's hurt others, too. This bank needs to change, for everyone. Voss nodded, voice soft. You're right, Ms. Mitchell. We'll act immediately. The crowd applauded, the reporter shouting, Ava, how do you feel? Ava's bracelet caught the light, voice clear. I feel like we're starting something bigger than me. Elise gripped her shoulder, voice proud. That's my girl. Lucas, still shaken, added, I'll back her up. Everything she said is true. As Margaret was led out in cuffs, the crowd parted, some cheering, others filming. Sophie whispered to Ava, you did this. You and your mom. Ava nodded, voice low. And you, Sophie, we're a team. The USB, her notes, and the note about Marsh were their weapons. But Crane's escape and Marsh's shadow loomed. Elise addressed the board, voice unwavering. This isn't just about Oaked, it's about justice. Who's with us? The room roared, Ava standing tall, ready for the fight ahead, her hope bracelet a beacon in a battle far from over. The Oaked Bank's grand lobby, once a cold monument to wealth, now hummed with the energy of change. Ava Mitchell, 15, stood beside her mother, Dr. Elise Mitchell, as the echoes of their victory over Margaret Langley reverberated. Ava's Wester Academy uniform was creased from hours of standing, but her silver bracelet engraved with hope shone brightly, a symbol of her resilience. The $6,000 scholarship check, finally deposited, was a distant memory compared to the exposed conspiracy. Margaret's collusion with Edward Crane, the USB's damning files, Ava's meticulous notes, and the cryptic note linking Crane to Counselor Evelyn Marsh. Margaret was fired and detained, Crane under FBI scrutiny, and the bank faced a public audit. Yet the mysterious text, Langley's exposed, check USB, you're welcome, and Marsh's shadow hinted at deeper threats. Ava's notebook, her weapon, rested in her hands as she faced a new battle, ensuring the change lasted. Elise addressed the gathered crowd, customers, reporters, and board members, her voice resolute. Oak Bank will rebuild trust, starting with accountability. No one will face what my daughter did. Ava's chest swelled, but her eyes caught Sophie Grant, 25, nodding from the teller counter. Sophie's covert text to Elise and her defiance against Margaret had been pivotal. "Sophie, you're part of this," Ava said, voice firm. Sophie smiled, voice soft. "You led the way, Ava. I just followed." Lucas Reed, 22, lingered nearby, guilt heavy on his face. "Ava, I'm testifying against Margaret," he said, voice shaky. "I owe you that." Ava nodded, voice steady. "Make it right, Lucas." "That's enough." Board chairwoman Linda Voss approached, voice cautious. "Dr. Mitchell, we're launching a diversity training program and promoting Sophie to interim manager. Will you oversee the audit?" Elise's eyes gleamed, voice sharp. "I'll do more than oversee, I'll ensure it's thorough." "Ava, any thoughts?" Ava stepped forward, notebook open, voice clear. "Train every employee, not just managers. I saw how Margaret treated Black and Latino customers. It's not just her, it's a culture." Voss nodded, voice earnest. "Agreed, Ms. Mitchell, we'll start immediately." A reporter, notepad in hand, called out, "Ava, how does it feel to take down a corrupt manager?" Ava's bracelet caught the light, voice thoughtful. "It's not about taking her down, it's about lifting others up. No one should feel invisible here." The crowd cheered, a black woman in a nurse's uniform shouting, "You're our voice, Ava." Elise gripped Ava's shoulder, whispering, "You're making history, baby." Ava smiled, but the note about Marsh nagged. Crane's backup, City Hall. Was Marsh watching? Later, in Elise's office, Ava and Sophie reviewed the USB's files with FBI agent Carla Ruiz, 38, whose no-nonsense demeanor matched Elise's. "These emails tie Crane to Marsh," Ruiz said, voice grim. "She's funneled campaign funds to cover his debts. We're building a case, but Marsh's allies are circling." Ava's heart raced, voice urgent. "What about the text? Someone helped us, maybe inside City Hall." Ruiz's eyes narrowed, voice low. "We're tracing it. Stay vigilant, Ava. You're a target now." Elise's phone buzzed. A smear article. "Teen stunt disrupts Oak Bank, questions Mitchell's leadership." Ava's stomach sank, voice trembling. "They're lying about me, Mom." Elise's voice was steel. "They're scared, Ava. We've got the USB, your notes, and the truth." "Let them try," Sophie added, voice fierce. "I'm leaking the files to the press. They can't bury this." Ava nodded, scribbling. Smear campaign started. Marsh's move, her grandmother's hope steadied her, but fear lingered. Marsh was untouchable, or so they thought. That evening, Ava joined Elise at a community forum in Oak Ridge's town hall, packed with activists and families. Marla Jones, a local teacher whose son faced bank discrimination, gripped Ava's hand, voice warm. "You spoke for us, Ava. How can we help?" Ava's voice rang clear. "Keep pushing, join the audit, demand fair policies. I'm starting a youth group to teach financial literacy, so no kid feels like I did." Marla smiled, voice proud. "We're with you, Ava." A teen activist, Jamal, added, voice eager. "Can I join? We need this at Wester." Ava grinned, voice bold. "You're in, Jamal." Elise spoke next, voice commanding. "Oakd's audit is just the start. We're suing Crane for corporate espionage and exposing Marsh's role." The crowd roared, but Ava's phone buzzed. A new text from an unknown number. "Marsh knows about the note. Watch your back." Her breath caught, showing Elise. "They're scared," Elise said, voice low. "Good, we're scaring the right people." Ava nodded, voice resolute. "I'm not backing down, Mom." Elise's eyes shone, voice soft. "That's my warrior." Back at Oaked, Sophie, now interim manager, met Ava and Elise, voice excited. "We're rolling out Ava's training plan next week. Employees are on board. Lucas even volunteered." Ava smiled, voice warm. "Thanks, Sophie. You changed everything by texting Mom." Sophie shook her head, voice earnest. "You did, Ava. Your notes, that USB, you're the spark." Ava touched her bracelet, whispering, "For Grandma." The smear campaign and Marsh's threat loomed, but the USB's files, Sophie's leadership, and the community's support were their shield. As Elise prepared to face Crane in court, Ava stood ready, her notebook a testament to a truth too big to silence. The Oak Bank's gleaming facade stood as a symbol of transformation, its marble halls now echoing with the promise of justice. Ava Mitchell, 15, walks through the lobby, her Wester Academy uniform crisp, the silver bracelet engraved with hope catching the morning light. The $6,000 scholarship check was long deposited, but its ordeal had sparked a revolution. Ava's notebook, the USB exposing Margaret Langley's betrayal with Edward Crane, Sophie Grant's covert help, and the cryptic note linking Crane to counselor Evelyn Marsh had toppled a corrupt network. Margaret was convicted of corporate espionage, Crane faced trial, and Marsh's arrest shook City Hall. The mysterious text, Langley's exposed, check USB, you're welcome, remained unsolved, but a new detail, a sealed envelope with Marsh's campaign ledger, delivered anonymously, hinted at a broader conspiracy. This part, approximately 1,000 words, amplifies dialogue to showcase Ava's growth, Elise's legacy, and the community's strength, delivering a hopeful yet vigilant resolution. Ava stood at a podium in Oak Bank's community room, addressing a crowd of students, activists, and reporters. Her mother, Dr. Elise Mitchell, 42, stood nearby, eyes gleaming with pride. The bank, under Sophie Grant's interim management, had implemented Ava's diversity training, and a federal audit was reshaping its practices. Ava's voice rang clear, I came here to deposit a check, but I left with a mission. No one should feel invisible because of their race or age. Today, I'm launching the Hope Fund to teach kids financial literacy and fight discrimination. The crowd cheered, Marla Jones, the teacher, shouting, You're our hero, Ava. Sophie, 25, stepped forward, voice warm. Ava, your plan's already changing Oaked. Employees are speaking up, thanks to you. Ava smiled, voice earnest. Thanks to us, Sophie. You risked everything texting my mom. Sophie shook her head, voice firm. You sparked it, Ava. That notebook, the USB, you're unstoppable. Lucas Reed, 22, now a junior teller, added, voice steady. I'm in your debt, Ava. I'm training new staff to make sure this never happens again. Ava nodded, voice kind. We're building something better, Lucas. That's enough. Elise addressed the crowd, voice commanding. Oakd's audit uncovered 15 cases of discrimination, all tied to Margaret's policies. We've settled with victims and sued Crane for $10 million. Marsh's campaign funds are frozen, and the FBI's closing in. A reporter called out, Dr. Mitchell, what about Marsh's allies? Elise's eyes flashed, voice sharp. We're tracing every lead. No one's above the law. Ava clutched her notebook, the sealed envelope from her locker burning in her mind. Found yesterday, it contained Marsh's ledger, detailing payoffs to state officials. She'd given it to FBI agent Carla Ruiz, whispering, This goes beyond Charleston, Mom. Ruiz, 38, met Ava after the event, voice low. The ledger's a goldmine, Ava. Marsh was funding a national lobbying group to protect banks like Meridian. Your envelope cracked it open. Ava's heart raced, voice urgent. Was it the same person who sent the text? Ruiz's eyes narrowed, voice cautious. We're close to finding them, an insider, maybe City Hall. You're a magnet for truth, kid. Ava touched her bracelet, voice resolute. I just want no one else to feel like I did. At Wester Academy, Ava spoke to her peers, notebook in hand. I was humiliated at Oaked, judged for being black and young. But I wrote it down, and it changed everything. You can, too. Jamal, the teen activist, raised his hand, voice eager. Ava, I'm joining your Hope Fund. How do we fight bigger? Ava's voice soared. Learn, organize, speak up. We're not just kids, we're the future. Her classmates cheered, a teacher whispering to Elise, She's a leader, Dr. Mitchell. Elise nodded, voice soft. She's my daughter. That evening, Ava and Elise hosted a town hall, packed with Oak Ridge families. Marla gripped Ava's hand, voice thick. My son's bank account was frozen last year, no reason given. You gave us hope, Ava. What's next? Ava's voice was steady. We're pushing for a city law banning discriminatory banking. Join us, Marla. Jamal added, voice bold. I'm rallying students for it. We've got your back, Ava. Elise spoke, voice powerful. This isn't just Oaked, it's every bank, every city. We're suing Marcia's network next. A new email hit Elise's phone, anonymous, titled Keep Going. Marcia's group runs deep, DC, Chicago. Ledger's just the start. Ava's breath caught, voice low. It's them again, Mom, the text sender. Elise's eyes darkened, voice firm. They're an ally, Ava. We'll find them, but we're ready for the fight. Ava nodded, voice fierce. For Grandma, for Sophie's courage, for everyone. Sophie, nearby, said, I'm training managers nationwide now. Your hope funds my blueprint, Ava. Ava grinned, voice warm. We're a team, Sophie. Weeks later, Ava stood at a city council meeting, presenting her law proposal. No one should fear a bank because of who they are, she said, voice unwavering. The council voted 8-2 to pass it, the crowd erupting. Elise whispered, you did that, Ava. Ava touched her bracelet, voice soft. We did. News broke. Marsh pleaded guilty, naming 3 state officials. Oakd's reforms spread to other banks, and Ava's Hope Fund grew, funding scholarships for marginalized youth. As Ava walks through Oak Ridge's streets, kids waved, calling, that's Ava Mitchell. She smiled, notebook tucked away, the ledger's secrets now public. The anonymous ally remained a mystery, but their final message, you're not alone, echoed in her heart. Elise joined her, voice proud. You're changing the world, Ava. Ava's voice soared. We're just starting, Mom. With Sophie's leadership, Jamal's rallies, and a city united, Ava wasn't just a girl with a check. She was a force, her hope bracelet a beacon for a fight that would outlive them all. A new email hit Elise's phone, anonymous, titled Keep Going. Marcia's group runs deep, DC, Chicago. Ledger's just the start. Ava's breath caught, voice low. It's them again, Mom, the text sender. Elise's eyes darkened, voice firm. They're an ally, Ava. We'll find them, but we're ready for the fight. Ava nodded, voice fierce. For Grandma, for Sophie's courage, for everyone. Sophie, nearby, said, I'm training managers nationwide now. Your hope funds my blueprint, Ava. Ava grinned, voice warm. We're a team, Sophie. Weeks later, Ava stood at a city council meeting, presenting her law proposal. No one should fear a bank because of who they are, she said, voice unwavering. The council voted 8-2 to pass it, the crowd erupting. Elise whispered, you did that, Ava. Ava touched her bracelet, voice soft. We did. News broke. Marsh pleaded guilty, naming 3 state officials. Oakd's reforms spread to other banks, and Ava's Hope Fund grew, funding scholarships for marginalized youth. As Ava walks through Oak Ridge's streets, kids waved, calling, that's Ava Mitchell. She smiled, notebook tucked away, the ledger's secrets now public. The anonymous ally remained a mystery, but their final message, you're not alone, echoed in her heart. Elise joined her, voice proud. You're changing the world, Ava. Ava's voice soared. We're just starting, Mom. With Sophie's leadership, Jamal's rallies, and a city united, Ava wasn't just a girl with a check. She was a force, her hope bracelet a beacon for a fight that would outlive them all.